What's up, Jets fans? Welcome to the latest edition of Jets Latest, where you get the latest on the Jets, Jets. I'm your host, spitting statistician Dane Martinez, and today I want to talk a little bit more about our matchup against the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday and how we are organizing for this and for the rest of the season. Remember, it has been done. The Jets are moving away from Justin Fields, and Tyrod Taylor is going to start against Baltimore and for the foreseeable future here. And by the way, if you want to be down with Jets Latest for the foreseeable future, you got to subscribe to the channel. You got to click on that join button and become a Jets Latest insider. You can get some exclusive content, some perks as we go through the 2025 season and beyond. And honestly, if you are a Jets fan, you are thinking beyond the 2025 season, right? We knew it's not going to work with Justin Fields. We made the trades of Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams, and so we are looking forward to a longer-term rebuild under Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji. And quite frankly, Tyrod Taylor, you're not going to like to hear this because it's not about like arm talent. It's not about him being a dynamic athlete. It's not about like what he can do with the ball in his hands. It's about what he can do for this organization, for the team building, for the character building, for the kind of stabilizing of evaluation of other talent. And that's what it is for Tyrod Taylor. And quite frankly, Tyrod Taylor does provide that for the Jets for this last stretch of the 2025 season. Listen to what Harrison Phillips, another veteran of this league, now on the D-line here in New York, had to say. He goes, I had a lot of overlap with him, being Tyrod, in Buffalo, hearing staff talk about how positive they talked about him, skill positions and O-linemen, how he was able to gel guys together. I'm one of the older guys on this team, so we've got the old man coffee crew, so he and I catch up, and I think it's just been super impressive, his mindset this entire season. Backup quarterbacks have to have the approach that they're going to take 60 snaps to go out and win the football game, and they maybe never even play a snap. With the long career he's had, there's no way he'd be able to do this at a high level without that approach every day. We definitely feel comfortable with him leading our team. So, again, it's not going to sound sexy, right? But from an intangible standpoint, and that's really what we have to worry about at this point here. We got to be real with ourselves. That Tyrod, as a kind of seasoned, respected veteran, can in fact do that, right? It's not about the kind of arm talent. It's not about, as I said with Justin Fields, the idea of him being an elite dual threat quarterback, right? This is about having a stabilizing force. This is about having a respected locker room leader. This is about having a quarterback who can execute the offense and allow the Jets to evaluate other parts of the team. I think that is the point I keep on talking about now on Jets Latest. I know it doesn't sound great in the short term, but that really has to be the focus and the priority for the Jets. Can we now evaluate these pass catchers, guys like Mechie and Mitchell? Can we put our team generally in competitive positions where we can see if the Aaron Glenn model works in terms of field position with our special teams, in terms of time of possession, in terms of running the ball really effectively and then being efficient in play action and things of that nature, right? That's what we're going to see, and that's what we're going to evaluate with Tyrod under center. One of the things I keep on talking about is the ability to run the ball. We still do have a top 5 running game in the NFL, as predicted here on Jets Latest throughout the summer. And quite frankly, for Breece Hall, this may be an easier task than the last couple of weeks. Check it out. I mean, the last 2 weeks against Cleveland and New England, those were two of the better run defenses in the NFL, okay? Baltimore is not that, quite frankly. The Ravens' run defense, they allow 2.5 yards before contact. That is bottom 10 in the league. They have a 3.0 juke percentage against them, which means they're missing tackles. Guys are able to, like it says, juke them, right? That is the second worst rate in the NFL. And that matches well with Breece Hall. I mean, Breece Hall gets 3 yards before contact. That is the best in the NFL and speaks to this offensive line being able to move the line of scrimmage, push forward, and give Breece Hall some running room. And he's got a 5.9% juke rate. That's third best in the league. So I want to see, it's been tough for Breece Hall. Not necessarily tough, but he's had tough assignments, right? Against Cleveland, against New England. Now, with a couple of things in place, right? The O-line still playing well. With an easier defense to run against. And I say better in terms of with Tyrod there, You have to, at least as a defense, respect that he can execute the passing offense in a way that Justin Fields really wasn't able to do, right? Defenses started to know what Justin Fields was as a passer and was able to stack more against the run and kind of play more one-dimensional against this Jets offense. With Tyrod, they are going to take some more chances. They are going to throw the ball downfield, and that too may give Breece Hall a little bit more room to run. I'm expecting a decent day from Breece Hall on Sunday against Baltimore. But let's not get it twisted. It is not going to be an easy task against the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are hot, and it's no coincidence why they have Lamar Jackson back from injury. Okay, Lamar Jackson came back from an injury. Since then, the Ravens have won 3 straight games. They are now, even though Pittsburgh is technically in first place, the Baltimore Ravens are the favorites to win the AFC North. They are a hot team, and quite frankly, a team nobody wants to see in the playoffs, right? And here's the thing. Not only has it been their offense, they're scoring 26 points a game since Lamar is back, okay? And that's good. But their defense has been very good, allowing only 13.7 points per game in that stretch over the last 3 games when Lamar has been back. And that speaks to, again, what I'm talking about here in terms of the complementary football that you can play. When you have that offense working, the defense can, not be in bad positions. The defense, if they are up, can pin their ears back and play in a different way. And I think that's another example of why, honestly, the Jets make this change to Tyrod Taylor. It not only allows us to evaluate Mason Taylor, John Mechie, Adonai Mitchell, Arian Smith, guys like that. It allows us to evaluate our model, the way we want to win games, with the run game, of course, with our outstanding special teams in terms of winning the battle of field position, but also our defense, okay? When Justin Fields was out there and we're throwing for 55 yards passing and are putrid on offense, it consistently puts the defense in bad positions. We want to put the defense in, quite frankly, like normal situations, in normal game scripts, to be able to evaluate what they can do, whether it's in the passing game coverage, whether it's in our run defense, whether it's bringing pressure to the quarterback. And that's where I make the point with how Lamar has returned for Baltimore and what that does for the complementary football and seeing the improvement of the Baltimore defense. We can get a real read on the Jets defense as well. That's what I expect to see, hopefully, against the Baltimore Ravens. It is not going to be an easy task. They are like 2 touchdown underdogs here, but hopefully with Tyrod under center, we can get, like I said, a more relevant read on this team, because evaluation reigns supreme. Just like being here with Jets Latest, this is something for 2025 and beyond. So thanks. That's what we have to talk about here today. I'll be back tomorrow giving you more insights, more things to look for against the Baltimore Ravens. I really appreciate everybody continuing to stick with this channel, telling a Jets fan friend to tell a Jets fan friend, watching, liking, commenting. I love engaging with you. Let's see what some of the Jets latest regulars have to say. Ron P. 5022 says, "Hey Dave, it's Dane, by the way, spitting statistician Dane Martinez. It's all good, Ron P. Says, hey Dane, I'm willing to give up our 2 firsts and a second to get Mendoza. What do you think?" I've been talking about kind of the draft and the approach. And Ron, I hear what you're saying. There's going to be a lot of people saying, go up and get Mendoza or Ty Simpson. I don't think that's going to be the move. That's not the way I would do it. I would use all the draft capital we have this year, build out the roster in other places, O-line reinforcement, edge rusher, adding to the secondary. Maybe we need to add to the wide receiver room. We'll see after this evaluation. And I would get this roster, kind of better. And then I would actually look to 2027 in the draft class, where we have 3 first-round picks. And then if we need to trade up to go all the way to the tippy top for the stud, that's the way I would do it. Old Dave 1000 says, "We knew before the season that Fields was never good at passing the running backs. Let's just hope the quarterback switch sparks a little more Breece Hall juice. Go Jets." Another way we can evaluate, right? I think, remember, Breece Hall had that goal of 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving. Aaron Glenn was talking about how they want to get him more involved in the passing game, how he is a mismatch. Well, this quarterback change can do that, because quite frankly, I now believe the Jets have a ton of cap space. I think they're going to prioritize bringing Breece Hall back in fact, so that when we do have a young quarterback, you got one of the better running backs in the NFL to rely on as well. Sharon McLean, shout out to Sharon McLean. We haven't heard from Sharon in a while. A early days Jets latest regular says, just hyped your video, stat man. Thank you so much to Sharon and to everybody out there. Doesn't matter if we don't win another game all year. I am going to be here to talk about it and give you the insights and give you the way to look forward here with the green and white. So that'll do it for this episode. Remember, maybe your fantasy team can still threaten the playoffs even if the Jets can't. I am the host of the FTN Fantasy Show over on Sirius XM. It is a great show. We get you ready to win fantasy football games. FTN Fantasy is a great website, rankings, tools, data, all sorts of great stuff to help you become a better fantasy player and a better sports bettor, all right? So you can check me out over there. I'll be back tomorrow, like I said, getting you ready for the game against the Baltimore Ravens. But for this episode of Jets Latest, we out of here. Peace.